everyone, welcome back. My name's Linette with the Laurel County Public Library, and I'm here today to talk to you about gingerbread cookies. Believe it or not, Christmas will be here before we know it. It's already October, and I don't know about you, but I'm not ready. I'm just not ready at all. And we all have those things about Christmas that we love that just, it reminds us of days gone by. And that's important. That's important for our kids, it's important for us to build those traditions. And for a lot of people, food is a central part of that tradition at Christmas time. I'm sure you all have some aunt or uncle that always makes a certain dish, and when you eat it any time of the year, it reminds you of Christmas. I'll have to tell you a funny. My mother-in-law makes this salad, and the recipe is yum yum salad. None of her children will eat it. They call it the yuck yuck salad. I love that. And so I think she and I are probably two of the only ones at Christmas time that really get into that dish and eat it. But anytime that I see something similar to it, it always reminds me of my mother-in-law on Christmas. So seeing that cookies are a big part of Christmas, you know, Santa likes those, kids like those, adults like those, I thought today we'd talk about gingerbread cookies. Now, our public library has tons, and I do mean tons of books on baking. And if chocolate is your fancy, you are in luck because there's shelves and shelves on how to bake with chocolate. So I thought I'd share just a few cookbooks with you today. First of all, Taste of Home. You know I love Taste of Home. This is 365 days of cookies. People, we can have one every single day of the year. It's okay. But notice I had to get this because, see Elena, gingerbread people's on the front of it. So I had to get that one. As per the usual, Taste of Home, it's got tons of pretty pictures, lots of good instructions and things like that. I wish I could make cookies like this. I can't do that. But maybe with some practice I could. But lots of good ideas here. Okay, so there's one. This one I thought was really neat because this is something that a lot of people do at Christmas is they'll do some type of dessert swap or a cookie swap. This had all kinds of neat ideas to go with that. Let's see, I don't see an author on there, but anyway, Christmas cookie swap. Lots of pretty pictures. Again, they're probably making them a whole lot prettier than I can ever do, but I could do that, a brownie cookie. That's lots of good little recipes there. And then I thought this one has to be delicious, and when I looked through it, it was the Pillsbury Family Christmas Cookbook. Now, you can't go wrong with Pillsbury, okay? They're one of the leaders. Tons of good recipes here. Tons and tons and tons. You've got your cookies, you've got your appetizers, spreads, desserts. I mean, just all kinds of good stuff. Oh my Lord, that looks good. So I would check that one out in a heartbeat. Then this one, Mom's Big Book of Baking. Now I had a friend the other day ask me, she said, Linette, she said, I saw that you're doing videos for the library. She said, what's the benefit of having a cookbook versus getting it online? She said, I just get my stuff online. And I understand that. We are in the online generation, and most of us go to the internet when we're looking for recipes. So my answer to her was this. When you have a cookbook, you get all the how-tos and all of the little tips from baking or cooking, whatever it is. And that's why I like cookbooks. Because sometimes I just don't know how to prepare a dish, maybe one that I've chosen offline. But when I have that cookbook and I have those little tips, it helps me. And that's what whoever Mom is, that's what she's done here. There's lots of good tips to help your dish be successful. Okay, so go to the library, find you a good cookbook. You won't be sorry. Now, here's my tips for doing cookies. Use good ingredients and have good equipment to work with. For years, I would try to make cookies with margarine and not butter. It just doesn't work the same. Or maybe not having a real good cookie sheet and things like that. You have to have good good stuff to work with. So today we're going to make gingerbread cookies, and we're going to start. Now I'm using a stand mixer. When you're making cookies, I think a stand mixer works the best. The dough gets really heavy on these cookies, and for some handheld mixers it's just too much. So the stand mixer does work better. Okay, so we're starting with 1.5 sticks of butter, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, already sounding good, and 2/3 of a cup of molasses. And I'm gonna try my best not to spill that. You know, back years ago when I was about 12 years old, my dad and his brother raised a sugar cane crop and made molasses. It was a ton of work for everyone. I was only 12, so I did some work, but not as much as they did, obviously. But man, those were good. Those were so good. So maybe someday we can do that again. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to turn the mixer on, and that's going to cream for just a little bit. Now you've got to have that butter at room temperature, so just let it sit out for a while, okay? You have to have it good and soft. Don't stick it in the microwave. Just let it come to room temperature naturally. Okay, so as that's creaming, I'll discuss the rest of the ingredients. When that gets good and fluffy, we're going to add an egg to it and a teaspoon of vanilla. Use good vanilla. The imitation vanilla is not really that good for baking, in my opinion. We have 3¼ cups of all-purpose flour. I've already got that in the sifter here with the other spices. So let me tell you what those are. We have a whole tablespoon of ground ginger, a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then we're going to zest an orange in it. Now that orange is really, it puts the taste of that gingerbread over the top. Last year I made a couple of different batches, and one batch I put the orange, another batch I did not. My daughter picked that up immediately. She was like, this doesn't have oranges in it. Yep. Okay, Elena, come around here and just kind of show them what this is looking like. That butter, if it's good and soft, it'll make these extra fluffy, okay? That butter and sugar goes together. You all can see there, it's almost like whipped cream or something. Okay, so very fluffy. All right, so now I'm going to sift together, or I'm going to put my egg in and let it go a couple of rounds. And I'll add my vanilla in as well. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. If I should accidentally splash a little more, I'm not going to cry about it. It's good vanilla. Okay, while that's finishing up, I'm going to sift my other ingredients. So I'm just going to gradually add those in. By sifting your spices in with your flour, it really makes sure that you have an even distribution of those spices. It works better than just dumping them in. Turn that off for a second. This is almost sifted. This makes a lot of cookies. But man, they're good. I drug out my gingerbread people to join us today. My daughter's like, really? It's not even Christmas. But I'll tell you all the funny story behind those. I ordered those a couple of years ago, and I didn't pay attention when I ordered them, and I thought that they were tiny. I thought that they were like, you know, countertop size. So, works, right? Oh well. Okay, so I'm gonna start adding my flour in. And I'm just going to turn the mixer on low and just kind of let it absorb that slowly. That's what happens when you order quickly and don't pay attention to what you're doing. I love gingerbread. I love gingerbread people, gingerbread houses. Someday I would love to go to Washington, D.C. and see the big gingerbread house display that they have. I think that would be so neat. Those people, they're already working on that. They've been working on it for a while. Things are going to get a little messy here, but it's just how it goes.
Or to see the ones in Disney World.
Yes, somebody will get to see that maybe this year. I don't know. My husband and I went on a cruise a couple of years ago at Christmas, and I was real excited because they announced that they were having like a gingerbread display in one of the dining rooms. It was nothing to brag about. I was really disappointed. Those are just works of art, people. Okay, come back around here, Elena. Let's show them again what this looks like. Ignore the mess, folks. It's hard to keep from it. Okay, you can see that is getting very, very thick. Okay, very thick dough. Okay, now I'm going to zest that orange in there. And then we'll just let it do a turn or two, and then we'll chill it. Now this dough there's a huge amount of this dough. So I'm going to split it and put it on plastic wrap, put it in the fridge and let it chill for a few hours. That's another mistake a lot of times people make when they're doing cookies, is they try to make their cookies immediately. Don't do that. Okay, you always want to let your dough be chilled a little bit. It will work better. Okay. I think my husband's trying to come in the door and we're shooing him away. Okay. It's just real around here, folks. It's just how it is. Okay, so I'm gonna let that go for a couple of turns. Oh, it does smell good. It's nasty, made a mess, but it smells so good. All right. Okay. I'll get this off of here. And I'm just gonna eyeball it. If I can get it off. Lord of mercy. There we go. I'm telling you, it's heavy. You know, we all buy those candles in the fall and winter that's supposed to smell like certain things of the holidays. There's nothing like the real thing. Gingerbread can't be put into a candle. The real thing is so much better. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. Now I've got my plastic wrap already laid out here. And my messes. So I'm just gonna kind of half this, if I can. I'm gonna call that good for one. I know it looks a little yucky, but when I get it wrapped up here, it'll be fine. So this is gonna go in the refrigerator. Let me grab my other plastic wrap. You know, I have a love-hate relationship with plastic wrap. I fight with it on the daily. Like that. I'm sure you all do good at that at home, don't you? I don't have to get my fingers in it, can't help it. Come on. I had another little spatula in my hand, I don't know where I laid it. That's all right. Okay. There's no way you could work this dough right now. It's way too soft, it's way too warm. In fact, before, when I've made the cookies, sometimes I would make a few and then put the dough back in the refrigerator and let it kind of chill again and then make more. Because honestly, if it's too warm, you just can't work with it. So just keep that in mind, because sometimes that's part of the reason people get frustrated. So don't get frustrated. You got to try this. You got to get ready for Santa, guys. Okay, so those are good. We'll put them in the fridge and we'll see you back in a few hours. Okay. Okay folks, welcome back. We've had our gingerbread cookie dough in the refrigerator for a while now, and we'll start making some cookies. I'm excited about it. I love the smell of gingerbread cookies while they're in the oven. So the oven is preheated to 350, and let's talk about the baking of them. You need a good cookie sheet, okay? Cookie sheets are thinner than actual baking sheets. If you're going to use a baking sheet to bake your cookies on, make sure that it's an insulated one. That will help about the burning on the bottom. Also, I highly recommend a silicone, something like this, the silicone mats that you can lay on your cookie sheets. This one I really like because it has the different circle sizes. So if you want to make the tiny cookies, which is a tablespoon, or the medium size, which is a 2 tablespoon. That's kind of the normal one that I use if I'm doing chocolate chip. Or if I flip it over, you can tell this side's had more of the heat because it's browner. This is for the huge cookies. This would be a 3 tablespoon. Okay, so the silicone or parchment paper really does make a difference. So I highly encourage that. Okay. The other thing that I'm using, and this is optional, this was given to me by a good friend, Miss Kelly. This is a cover for your countertop. Now I tried it with my sourdough bread and it didn't work out real well, so this is the first time I've used it with cookies, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I'm just gonna flour it a little bit. Kind of spread that out. Then we're gonna roll these out. A little flour on the rolling pin. Remember I broke the edges off my rolling pin, but it's okay. Get a little nasty here. A little bit of flour on the top. Now again, I'm not a professional at making cookies, but gosh, I love to eat them. I could be a professional at that. Our goal is to get this to about 1/4 of an inch in thickness. That's the preferred width on those. Now the baking time, the recipe that I had said 9 to 10 minutes. And that works really well for little tiny cookie cutters. The ones that I'm going to use today, I have a gingerbread house, and I have a little boy and a little girl. What I found before was they take a little more than 10 minutes. It was more like 11 minutes to get them done. And just like with any cookie, you don't want to leave these in the oven until they look perfectly done, because if you leave them that long, you've overdone them. That's one of the biggest things I hear people talk about on chocolate chip, is they want to leave them in the oven until they look like chocolate chip cookies. And they truly do finish cooking on the cookie sheet. Okay. We're about there. Just got a thick spot right here in the middle I'm trying to work out. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. Okay, so we're gonna make us some little girls and little boys. These are so fun. Should have put me a little bit of flour on that before I did that. Get a boy or two. Okay. I'm just going to kind of peel that back. Hold on. Little tiny spatulas work the best. Getting these up. Come on, little boy. So there's one little boy. You can kind of work with him when you get him on the baking sheet, cookie sheet, to make sure his arms aren't going like this or that. Little girl. I've been excited about these all day because I do love gingerbread cookies. It's probably one of my favorite cookies. They're simple. You know, they're not really the sweet cookie. They're just good. I love that flavor. Okay. Come on, little lady. Let's get on a baking sheet. Pretty. Remember what I told you about the dough. When it starts getting too warm, it's not easy to work with. So you kind of have to watch that. I should have put down more flour, but I think I might have just ripped off part of his arm. Uh-oh. Well, he's going to be a pitiful little sight. Okay, let me start over with him. Well, I've got 4 on there. I'll go ahead and put those in the oven so that you guys can see what they're going to look like. So come back in about 10, 11 minutes and we'll see how they are. Okay, guys, we've got gingerbread cookies and I'm so excited. Okay, so we didn't make all of them because I want to save that dough. Cookie dough like that will stay good in the fridge for several days. So as long as you keep it wrapped up tight, or even like in a Ziploc bag, something like that, it'll stay good for a good time. So that's good to know. We'll have gingerbread cookies all week. So when I got them out of the oven, you set them on a cookie sheet. Now it's a good idea to have your cookie sheet up off of your counter. If you have the little flat cookie sheet, that's fine. Just set it up on top of something. Maybe set it on top of a mixing bowl or maybe some large cans, just because you want that airflow. That'll help cool the cookies down. So these have been sitting here for a few minutes. I'm going to take them off. Oh, aren't they cute? Now this is a 3.5-inch cookie. Again, I baked it for 11 minutes. If you had a larger cookie cutter, you would want to go a little bit longer. So there they are. So cute. And I hope that you will try this. If you've never made gingerbread cookies, they're not as challenging as you might think. Please give them a try. Your family will love them. Happy holidays!